So you're working with Kubernetes, right? Then you already know that security isn't just some feature you bolt on at the end. It's everything. And that's exactly where the Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist, or CKS, comes into play. But what does it really take to earn that title? Well, today we're going to crack that code. So what's the magic number? It's 6. Yep, just 6. There are 6 core domains that you have to know inside and out. You can think of them as the 6 pillars holding up all of your Kubernetes security expertise. They cover, literally everything, and we're going to walk through each and every one. And here it is, the official blueprint straight from the CNCF. This is basically our roadmap for this entire explainer. Now, take a look at those percentages. You'll see that supply chain security, microservice vulnerabilities, and monitoring, those are the big ones, each weighing in at 20%. But, and this is a big but, you absolutely cannot sleep on the foundations: the setup, the cluster hardening, and the system hardening. So let's start building. To really get a handle on what the CKS is all about, I want you to picture your cluster as a fortress, right? And you can't defend a fortress if the walls are crumbling. So the very first thing we have to do is build a rock-solid foundation. And that means we're going to combine 2 key domains right off the bat: cluster setup and cluster hardening. And what's so cool about this is that it's a 2-sided coin. On one side, you've got proactive setup. Think of this like you're the architect, designing the fortress with security baked in from the very first stone you lay. But on the other side, you've got reactive hardening. This is you on the night watch, constantly patrolling the walls, checking for weaknesses, and reinforcing them against any new threats. You absolutely need both. One without the other just doesn't work. Okay, so what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it's all about building your defenses in layers. You're using network policies to create internal gates and checkpoints, right? Controlling who can go where. You're securing the main gate, your ingress, with strong TLS encryption. You're constantly running audits with tools like the CIS benchmark to find cracks in the walls before an attacker does. And, of course, you're using role-based access controls to make sure only the most trusted people have the keys to the kingdom's most sensitive rooms. All right, so we've done all that. Our fortress walls are strong. The cluster itself is buttoned up tight. But wait a minute. What about the very ground that fortress is built on? Because let's be real, the security of your cluster is only ever as good as the security of the nodes it's running on. And that brings us perfectly to our next domain, system hardening. This is where we go a layer deeper. We move past the Kubernetes bits and get down to the host operating systems themselves. Now, it might only be 10% of the exam, but don't let that fool you. This is the critical foundation that everything else rests on. And the whole philosophy here is actually pretty simple. Just reduce your attack surface. That means stripping down the host OS to the bare minimum, locking down any unnecessary network access, and using some really powerful kernel hardening tools. I'm talking about things like AppArmor and CComp. Think of these as the solid bedrock under your fortress, preventing anything weird from happening at the deepest level. And yeah, you guessed it, the principle of least privilege is just as important here too. Okay, let's take a step back. Our fortress infrastructure is solid. The ground is hardened, the walls are high. But what about the whole reason we built the fortress? The precious cargo we're running inside? Our applications. This leads us right into the heavy hitters: supply chain security and minimizing microservice vulnerabilities. You can't secure a supply chain if you don't even know what's in it. And that's where something called an SBOM comes in, a software bill of materials. It's really just a detailed inventory. What components are you using, where they come from, who made them? Without this list, you're basically flying blind. A new vulnerability pops up in some random library, and you have no idea if you're even affected. An SBOM changes all that. So once you actually know what's inside your software, you can build a secure workflow around it. It's a whole process. You start with the absolute smallest base image you can find. You scan everything, your code, your images, for known problems before they ever see the light of day in production. You cryptographically sign all your artifacts to prove they're legit and haven't been messed with, and you make sure you're only pulling images from trusted registries. It's like creating a secure chain of custody for your code from developer laptop to production. And then, once those applications are actually running inside the cluster, you've got to protect each one individually. I like to think of it as securing separate treasure chests inside the main fortress vault. You're applying specific security standards to each pod, you're managing secrets like they're gold, and you're even encrypting the pathways between the pods. And for the really, really valuable stuff, you can use sandboxed containers. which is basically like putting a locked box inside another locked box. That's some serious isolation.
Okay, we've built our fortress. We've hardened the ground it stands on. We've secured all the cargo inside. You'd think we'd be done, right? Nope, not even close. Security is never done. It's an active, ongoing process. And that brings us to our final domain, the ever-watchful guardian standing on the watchtower, constantly scanning the horizon for threats.
This quote, right from the curriculum, really says it all. You're expected to detect threats within physical infrastructure, apps, networks, data, users, and workloads. I mean, wow, the scope is just massive. You're not just watching one little thing, you are watching everything. It demands a truly holistic view of your entire system, from the bare metal all the way up to how a user is behaving. So what kind of tools does this Guardian have? Well, for one, they're digging deep into Kubernetes audit logs, piecing together the full story of who did what and when. They're making sure containers are immutable, which is a fancy way of saying they can't be changed once they're running. Why? Because if they can't be changed, any unauthorized activity sticks out like a sore thumb. And, maybe most importantly, this is about going way beyond simple alerts. It's about performing real behavioral analytics, connecting the dots to figure out what an attacker is really trying to do.
So, there you have it. We've walked through all 6 domains. But becoming a CKS is about so much more than just ticking boxes on a checklist of skills. It's really about adopting a whole new mindset.
And this right here, this is the absolute core of it all. The real mental shift for a CKS specialist is moving from just building security to actually living security. See, it's not a project that has a start and an end date. It's a continuous, never-ending cycle where you are proactively building your defenses, constantly hardening them against whatever's new, and maintaining this constant state of vigilance through monitoring. That is the CKS mindset. So, I'm going to leave you with this one thought. Your cluster is up and running. Your apps are deployed. Everything on the dashboard is green. But are you really prepared for who's knocking at the gate?